Hello and welcome to another Coffee and Heroes podcast where today we're going to be doing another creator interview. It's a returning interview and one I'm very excited to chat to. So our guest today is familiar to anyone within the walls of Coffee and Heroes, having the distinction of being the first ever comics creator to come to the store for a signing event. Believe it or not, that was almost 6 years ago. At that time, he was working on the maxi series Batman Catwoman, in which he created a little bit of history for us as he drew us into the Gotham landscape. That's right, Joker and Catwoman fought in our store in the pages of Batman Catwoman 10, meaning Coffee and Heroes' official Gotham City canon. Returning to Gotham City with the latest issue of Absolute Batman, number 11, he has, along with writer Scott Snyder, created an instant classic, an issue that will be discussed and pored over for many months and years to come. We'll dig into that and hopefully shed a little light on his upcoming project, Batman Nightfire, which he'll be working on with his brother Seth. It's the one and only Clay Mann. Good to see you, sir.
Hey man, how you doing?
I'm doing very, very well. It's great to see you. It's always a pleasure to chat. How you been? Keeping busy?
Busy, yeah. Maybe not with comics, but busy, yeah.
Well, busy's the important thing anyway. Yeah, no, I wanted to, have a quick chat about Batcat number 10. I recently came across it and I shared it out as a story on social media. Yes, we're on TikTok now for my sins, but it actually does bring business into the store, so I have to do it. But loads of really cool feedback about it. People coming into the store asking for the issue. But I reached out recently to CGC and said to them, so we send off maybe 60 books every couple of months, we facilitate it for people and all the rest. But I told them the story of Batcat 10 and how, our store was in it, and is there any way they would do a custom label for us that would say the first appearance of Coffee and Heroes in a comic? And they got
Right.
back to me and they said, because you've been such a good customer for us, we would be happy to do that for you. So there are 10 copies on their way to CGC at the moment, which will have that along the top. So I
Oh,
must again just
awesome.
say thanks for that.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah,
I mean, I'm still waiting on the original page, you know.
well, you're far, far away from me.
Yeah, obviously the Clay showed off the original page. I still remember getting that text because obviously you were in our store and I said as a joke to you, oh, you should draw us in the back cat 10 or not issue 10, just in the back cat. And you said, oh, I've already been thinking about that, and I just thought you were just being nice on the day, and you'd forget about it and whatever else. But another issue comes out, and then I ended up getting a lovely message from you. I still have it saved with the original sort of inks for it, showing off where we were going to be. So I can't tell you how excited we were that day when the delivery arrived in and issue 10 was there. It was it's the one time I've opened up a delivery, looked for a specific issue, and went, sorting that, couldn't wait. I've got stuff to read here. So yeah, we're hopefully going to have the original page hanging in the store one day.
You will. I still want to hand deliver it, but I'm going to mail it with these absolute Batmans I'm going to send you. So,
Well, I mean, hand delivering it is always open. If it's an open invitation to our store anytime, and obviously you've got upcoming projects. That may be something we could possibly facilitate. People still talk about that signing very well. I mean, I don't know whether to tell you this or not, but still to this day, you're the only person we've ever done a Q&A session with.
oh,
Anyone else is just a signing, but with
that's
yourself,
not
we did
that's
a
not
Q&A.
fair.
Well, I mean,
No, I liked it because I had some friends there, and I thought the turnout was good. So I got to fake brag. That was a big deal. So it was nice.
yeah, no, I mean, we had special dispensation to open the store late that night and everything. We normally the center closes at 5 o'clock, but I had to bribe the security guard with a bottle of Jack Daniels, and the things you got to do to facilitate these signings. But yeah, no, great time there. And as I say, open invitation anytime. So if you want to hand deliver that page, it's no problem. But I have a feeling I may be picking up another page of yours very soon because we have to talk Absolute Batman. Issue 11 just hit this week. Issue 11, of course, being the issue Clay is the artist for, Scott Snyder writing. This has been a really cool thing that they've done with the Absolute books so far, that instead of just artists coming in mid-story arc or anything like that, artists can come in for one or two issues and do specific things. So with yourself, it's the origin of Absolute being. You've kind of been involved since the beginning of Absolute Batman, just with varying covers for a few different issues and stuff like that. So how did working on that come about?
Um, I guess it would start. I met Nick at San Diego Comic Con the summer they announced it. And it was going to come out that October. I got to know him. I was already seeing some of the designs float around in the back channels of art, some other guys I know who had to do some variant covers and stuff. And I mean, there was something about it that just made me like it, maybe because it was so different. And then when I met Nick, we both share like a love for the 90s and older comics. So I really started to like Nick. And I guess because I liked Nick, I was just got more interested in it. Look, saw his artwork more. And when I draw Batman, I have a really hard time with it because I see a specific character in my head that's hard for me to put on paper. And with Absolute Batman, that's not there. So like I immediately was like, I want to draw this. I think I could, and it excited me to do it. And then so I asked a guy I know if I could do his retailer variant, and that's the first time I drew him, and that I guess that would be my start into it. Was that cover? So to number one. So that was my start. And then I just kept asking to do whatever I could with those covers. And then I'd say I became friends with Nick. And then when I found out there was openings, like Nick I think Nick put the word in for me. And then, Scott, I know Scott a little bit. I've met him through the years, and I talked to Scott about it and talked to Nick about it. So, it's kind of how it happened.
Yeah, I
There
mean,
was a little bit of, there was a little bit of, why aren't you drawing Nightfire instead? But that's a whole nother subject.
well, we can certainly get on to that a little bit later. I mean, I think you and I had chatted a little bit about it before, and Absolute Batman is a juggernaut of a title. It's probably the biggest DC title I would say since Three Jokers, but it's also on a more sustained period. So Three Jokers, three issues. Absolute Batman. Absolute Batman's just got bigger by the issue. DC are very good at keeping it in print, second printings, third printings, fourth printings. So it creates that excitement that people are coming back. And I think we chatted about it a little bit before. Obviously, Clay and I every so often will like chat over Twitter, social media, whatever. And I think you'd said something about Absolute Batman could be a little bit of a way to reintroduce people to your work again before
For
Nightfire
sure.
comes along, and you couldn't have picked a bigger title for it.
I mean, that is absolutely correct. I was like, it's weird because, as an artist, we'll be on these books for months, if not years, and you'll get opportunities all the time. Someone will ask you if you can do something or another company, and you want to, but you can't. So I was in a position where, like I said, I was a huge fan of Nick. I was a huge fan of Nick's work on the book. It's one of the few comics I was buying and reading. I was enjoying it very much. And again, when I got the opportunity, or when I found out there was an opportunity for someone to do it, and it wasn't two issues, I'm like, well, my book's not out yet. It's so far from being out. I've been off the shelves for a couple years, and I'm like, you know, I think I need this. Like, I need a little bit exposure, a little pop up of air, because again, I mean, I've been off the shelves for a while, and not only do I want fans to see my stuff, but I want to be on the shelves. I'm a comic fan. It's exciting. I get to go in a comic book store and see my stuff on a shelf. That's, I'm still the kid who, wanted to do this forever. So that's pretty much that.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, it's a great way to get that exposure because what we're feeling is that Absolute Batman, we've got kids who come in here at 14, 15 think this is the coolest thing in the world. We've got guys in their 40s, 50s who've been reading comics all their lives, love this new, fresh take. So, certainly with a title like this, I don't think it's a stretch to say you're playing a little bit of the long game with Nightfire because this puts you back into that conversation straight away because this is not a throwaway issue, which we'll get into in a second. And I should say, by the way, for anyone listening to this, if you haven't read the issue, go read it. We're going to talk spoilers because I need to talk spoilers about this issue with Clay. But this is not a throwaway issue. This is not a fill-in issue. This is a brutal exclamation mark of an issue. I've said to a few people in the store since I've read it. I read it yesterday morning at 7 a.m. So I was up a little earlier, and before I went to the store, I thought, oh, I must read my Batman before New Comic Book Day. And I thought, oh, absolute Batman, brilliant. I can enjoy Clay's art. This will be great. And then I read it, and I was like, this was not the book to start the day with, because I just sat there in a bit of a stunned silence. And a book doesn't often do that to me. I've been reading comics for years, decades, depressingly. But you'll read a comic, you'll enjoy it, you'll think about it for a second, you'll set it down, you'll pick up the next one. But I was thinking about this all day, and then customers were coming into the store and picking it up, and I was imploring people, please sit here and read this so I have someone to talk to about it. Because the storytelling in this issue, the art in this issue, the turns it takes, what happens to Batman, this stuff does not happen every day. I mean, this was a real, as I say, exclamation point of an issue. And you know, did you feel that when you got a script? Did you think like this is an issue I want to be a part of because this will make a big splash?
When I agreed to it, I didn't know what it was about. I knew it would be the origin of Bane. Um, I talked to Nick. I talked to Nick more than I talked to Scott, but I did tell Nick before I ever got anything from Scott. I'm like, I just don't want it to feel like it's not connected. And I think he relayed that to Scott for me. I believe I think Nick said, I've told Scott the same thing. Like, that's why in the book, I did a lot of pages with really dense panels because I wanted it to look not like Nick drew it, but, I still wanted it to feel like the same book, because it's just thrown right into, the Abomination arc. And I just didn't want it to feel like, you change the channel. So,
Mm-hmm.
but when I started talking to Scott and Nick about it, I still, you know, I think I knew it was going to be cool, because we got to hurt Batman. So, and that Bane broke Batman's back. So, like, there's a job to do. If you're drawing a fight, you got to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I remember when Batman back broke, that was a big deal. So, we need to make it hurt more than that. So
I think you succeeded, to say the least. I mean, I do love that. You're known sometimes as an artist for drawing, really in good shape, muscular people, or really, sexy women and stuff like that. You still managed to get a little beach part in there, which I thought was pretty cool. Just to show off your style. I mean, I was reading Scott Snyder's newsletter, and he was talking about this issue, and he said he'd changed up his writing style a little, and maybe that is a reaction to what you were saying, that you wanted to be part of this. But he said he wrote loads of prose sections, lots of narration. Obviously, Alfred talking the whole way through it. I mean, you said you changed. Did you consciously then change up your art style quite a bit because there was so much information in this book? I mean, you're a great artist when it comes to splash pages and lots of characters and big scenes, and there are still a few of those. But there's pages with maybe 25 panels on them, 30 panels. Was that a challenge to do, or did that come relatively natural?
um well, I'll go with there was kind of a mention of me changing my style. I'm not If people are talking about my layouts, if that's part of the style, then yes, I absolutely changed my style. Um, and I did go a little rougher because Nick can go pretty rough, so I went kind of rough. But for the panel layout, yeah, It's weird. I'm usually against a lot of panels. I loathe 9 panel pages. I hate them. And I think I hate them because, if I look at Watchmen or Doomsday Clock, Gibbons and Gary Frank, I actually like the 9 panels because they change so much within the panel. But when we're just getting like stats and all the time, I think that's sort of something people do a lot with the 9 panels. Is it's like the same thing over and over and over. I get really bored with that, and I kind of hate it. And also, I tend to like Eastern comics and or manga and stuff, and there's not 9 panels a page usually. So it's against my nature to do it, but I kind of found it easy because I guess normally, like if I have 4 panels on a page and I have to convey a scene, I have to pick the 4 strongest moments of what's happening. Where I was literally just on the page going, "What if the sun comes up? What if the sun goes down? Just draw it. What if a
Hmm.
bird chirps? Draw a bird chirp." Or I didn't draw a bird chirp, but I'm like I could take any moment I wanted and just do it. So in a way, it was kind of the layouts I thought were easy. I hate drawing small though, so that's what killed me.
Well, that's
I
it. I mean,
don't.
I've got the issue here, obviously, and this is, early on for anybody that can see this. If you're listening, I apologize, audio medium and all that. But yeah, you can see early on in the issue, certainly there's so much information here, there's so much prose, there's so much packed into this one issue. But I mean, the more you go through the issue, you certainly do get to enjoy your big splash page moments, your double page spreads. So it does have a little bit of everything in there. But just yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
that was me.
yeah, I mean, I mean, did you have full control over how you told it here? Was it a case of the script was given to you by Scott and he just said, "Look, I trust you to bring out the best in this, so lay the pages out as much as whatever way you want."
Yeah, so it was Marvel style. So like, if a page had 21 panels, I did it. If page had 1 panel, I did it. Um, Scott and Nick would call me when when I first got the gig. Scott and Nick called me. We kind of talked what the book would be about. None of us were like, we weren't, I wasn't drawing, I wasn't laying anything out. We just talked, and a couple of days later, they called me again, and we tightened it up, the idea. And then I think we had maybe one third phone call, and by then I was showing Scott my layouts, and we went through them panel by panel. So they're really tight layouts, and you know, I'd add something, he'd add something. Like, I can give you an example if you want that
Yeah,
I'm just thinking of is
please.
on those tight pages you showed. There's the mask, the origin of the mask.
Mm-hmm.
That came about because when I was laying Bane out, and said, "Well, here he'll put on the mask." I was like, I don't want to do the luchador thing.
Yeah, so sort of this is it this you're talking about here?
Yeah, the one on the bottom there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said I don't want to do a luchador or what if I'm saying it right. I'll
Mm-hmm.
just do like a ski mask or something. And Scott goes, "Oh, maybe it can be like a flag or something." So then I went and added the flag to all the pages before, like in my ideas, and I came up with that bird.
Mm-hmm.
And then Scott wrote about a bird. So there was not even a mention of the bird until I drew the mask, and then so it was very, very, very. It's I've never worked like it before. It was actually tons of freedom and also really fun because you can see. I mean, I'm not trying to take credit at all, but you can kind of see the importance of an artist
Mm-hmm.
because um, and what you can do together, the back and forth. Because usually
Yeah.
it's just I can get thrown a script and it's like draw, whip, whip. But with Scott, it was like, I asked Scott about, because Scott wrote the father dies, and I was like, can I break his back? And Scott's like, yeah. So he could have said no. I'll give you an example of something he did say no to. I wanted to draw all those women pregnant in the spread.
Hmm.
I wanted them all to have like big bellies, and I can't say why that didn't happen because it does go into another issue, the other issues down the road. But I was like, can I draw all these women like pregnant? Because I think it'd be super creepy. But that didn't really work because of his story for the future. So um, anyway, it was fun. It was a lot of back and forth. Never worked Marvel style before, so it it was a lot of fun. Sorry for the super long answer.
Not at all. The people are here to listen to you, not to listen to me. They come to the store to listen to
I'm
me
here to
all the time.
listen to you though. So.
Well, I mean, it is interesting. I mean, I've always heard really positive things about Scott and when he works with artists that he is very open to ideas, and I think a lot of that goes back to his relationship with Capullo during the New 52. I mean, I always love the story of, they got it was issue 5 back, and it's where Batman's caught in the underground maze, and the page sort of, like, you turn the page and the images are sideways, and then you turn the page again, the images are upside down. And Scott phoned up Greg going, I can't believe it. They've messed up our Batman issue. They've printed it the wrong way. They've done this. And he was like, Scott, read it again in the context of the story. That was Capullo's idea. So it was to show how Batman was like discombobulated and things were sideways and things were upside down. And he was sort of like, that's genius. So I've always heard good stuff about Scott in general. I was fortunate enough to meet him a couple of years ago. He was over at a con in the UK, Thought Bubble, and just seemed like a very interesting guy. But also, you can feel his love of comics. I mean, you just look at the Absolute line and how much has had to go into that, and the All In line and everything else. So it's nice to hear it backed up by obviously a collaborator. And yeah, as you say, that's how you produce your best work when you're in collaboration rather than, as you say, just draw the panels, because you know you'll love me for saying this, but I'll always say great art will save a bad story. An amazing story will not save bad art. In the comics medium, if you're reading the comic and it's ugly as sin, it doesn't matter. You could be reading Shakespeare. You're not going to keep reading it. If the art's great, you'll be like, well, at least I appreciate the level of craft in this, even if I mean Todd McFarlane made a living off it with Spawn, everyone
Why do
agrees the
you
right.
hate every image creator I love?
No, no, no. He's a brilliant artist, that's my point.
Oh, I
But
thought you were saying he wasn't.
no, no, no. McFarlane's one of the best to ever do it in the business. Reinvented Spider-Man. All types of stuff. But a lot of people who I talk to about Spawn in store, they'll always say, look, the first 50 issues, they're not great writing, but the art's spectacular. And then a writer comes on board, and it, storyline wise goes up. Don't worry, we're not going to get in. Actually, no. I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to bring this up. I'm really curious you know if you ratted me out to Rob that I'm not a fan.
No, I would never do that.
So
Seriously.
I went on the Twitter one day to tag him in something, and I found out he's blocked me. And
Maybe
I've never been blocked by anyone, and I've never said anything negative in a social media sphere. But I sort of went, I bet
maybe your
Clay's.
podcasts are bigger than you think, and he listened to one once.
Well, that's a nice thought, admittedly. But I was actually going on to compliment him for something. I can't remember what it was. I was going on to compliment something, or I listened to one of his pods and I wanted to retweet it and stuff. And I went, when did I get blocked by Rob? Sort of thing. But I have read the Marvel Universe by Rob Liefeld. I did promise to you I would read that. So, I can appreciate some of his work. You know.
I haven't read that, so
Well, I have to ask, have you read Watchmen yet? You did say you liked some of the panel layouts and Dave
I,
Gibbons' art, so you must have at least flicked through it.
well, what you just said, and I'm not saying the writing's bad at all, but you said someone will look through good art.
Yeah,
I've looked through it hundreds of times.
that's fair.
I've tried reading it more than once, and I tried reading it after I left you guys 6 years ago, and I I would only describe it as I got a little tired. There's
uh,
just so many big. There's just so many words on some of the pages.
That's fair. It's a big read. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, with the back matter and everything, and diary entries, and autobiographies and all types of stuff. But I mean, it's still one of my top five books of all time. But
I will say, if I didn't know what the story was already, because
mhm.
it's been ruined for me before,
Yeah.
I would probably have no problem reading it if I'm being honest.
Hmm.
Because I don't mind a slow movie. I don't mind a slow book if it's entertaining.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm sure I would have read it. I guess I'm just like reading it, thinking I already know how this ends. Like it's just
Yeah.
some words.
It's fair. I think that's commonplace in all types of art and media when something is really influential. If you weren't into it when it first came out, you've seen it aped 100 times since. I always use Buffy the Vampire Slayer as an example. I tried to watch it during COVID, but everything I watched, I was like, I've seen this done, but better since. But at the
So
same
I
time,
tried.
it was the original. So it's.
I had that problem with everyone told me how good The Sopranos was,
Hmm.
and I'm watching it, and I'm like, but I just watched this show or this show. It's so much better,
Yeah.
and it's like, but they're like saying that like that show was ahead of its time and one of the first. So
Hmm.
I'm like, I think you like maybe I need to be there for that.
Yeah, I
But
think it's true. There are certain things that I think stand the test of time. I mean, I'm a huge Twin Peaks fan, and I think it still stands to this day, but it also influenced 100 more TV shows, in its wake. But I think that's true of Watchmen. I mean, it's because everyone goes to Watchmen as like the pinnacle of the comic medium, and it's everywhere. It's impossible in this spoiler-filled world not to know everything that
let,
happens in it.
let me ask you
Um,
something. Have you read um this more than once?
I have read that 3 times.
Have you looked at it more than three times?
I've looked at it probably 5 or 6 times. Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's probably how I feel with Watchmen. I feel like because you didn't need to read it again.
Yeah, I
But
think the first time I read it, I'll do the same thing with any comic. I'll read it for the story first because obviously clarity of what's going on and that kind of thing. Then I'll flick back through it a second time and take in the art because I'll look for detail. And if it's really had an effect on me, I'll look at it again. And that's what this did. I mean, I haven't looked at it start to finish 6 times, but maybe the fifth time I've went, oh, let's go to the panel where, Bane breaks his father's back. Right, I'm gonna look at that double page spread. Right, I'm gonna look at that part where Batman gets his arm chopped off. I started looking at shadows and details and because the first time
don't
you're reading it with that
don't
kind
look
of
that
book,
hard.
no, but you have to because you have to think.
No, but some of the panels are so bad. I was
Well, you're
doing
always hard on
literally
yourself. This is not
no.
new information.
I was turning in pages the day it was due, and I'm literally scribbling like super like anxious and like shaking and like I'm like I can't do it. But that's the first book oh, I guess I can't say that because I mean I can, but it's just you know it's just been a while since I've done a book, and it was I was the guy like limping in at the finish line, like super tired and ready to
Hmm.
give up already. So
Well, I can assure you it does not come across at any point. But the reason I say that I go back and I look at panels and details is because the first time you read that, it is genuinely it's a tough experience. It's like, and I've got this as part of a question I'll lean into in a moment, but it's like when I go back and read Nightfall, I'm still uncomfortable reading Nightfall because like Batman's my guy and you're reading the pages and Bane's getting the better of him and you're like he's getting the better of him and then the splash pages start getting bigger and then you turn the page and that backbreaking moment and the backbreaking moment isn't even the most horrific moment for me. The most horrific moment is when Bane holds him up and he's like take him back Gotham streets and like Batman's lying battered and bruised in the streets. And this was the first time I'd read a Batman book where I was like, I think he might die. I think they might kill him here. I thought I was going to turn the page and Bane was going to like squelch his head or something, and I thought it was going to become a Dick Grayson book or something because Scott's not above taking those storytelling big swings, but also the art was just like. okay, he's chopped both arms off now. What's next? And like it was, I got a little bead of sweat on my forehead, you know. And that's a testament to the art as much as the storytelling because it was just so visceral and violent, and you know the brutality is off the scales at points in this issue. Were you ever asked to rein it in a little, or were you told like go nuts? I mean, I just have to say, eyeball, you know.
I will say I added that eyeball in last minute, way
Hmm.
after I turned the pages in, because I thought it would be funny. And part of me was like, I didn't tell anybody I added it. So I was like, I wonder if they notice it's there.
Well, that's an example of a panel I had to go back to and look at again and go, is that actually his eyeball right there? You know what I mean? I had to look at it again, sort of thing.
Well,
And
I kind of added it too because I was like, I mean, I drew it, and even I was like, I'm not sure if the point's coming across here.
mhm.
So I was like, it will if I just draw an eyeball sitting by itself. I'll be like, you kind of get the idea, you know?
Yeah. But I mean that
So
level of
this,
brutality, were you asked to rein it in at any point, or did they basically say, look, it's an absolute book, go as dark as you want to, as long as you don't, chop his head off or anything?
no, no one said anything to me, and uh, I mean, maybe Scott might have said I can do whatever I want
Hmm.
to a point. I mean, but like I still tried to hide stuff in shadow because even I don't want to draw some of that stuff. But no, I don't know. I mean, when I draw the him getting hit, you're kind of just watching the stone, kind of like it's hiding
Yeah.
everything. So I am trying to hide what's going on. Um, so I don't know, but
Well, that's
no,
that's that's part of the joy of it though, because as a reader, you're trying to fill in the blanks. You're like, this is in shadow. Do I see what I think I'm seeing here? I mean, when he chops the second arm off, like the first arm is like this big, massive sort of splash panel at the top and this huge, yelp of pain. But the second one is like this really pulled back from far, and it's
yeah,
just sort of like a wee in the air. And as a reader, you're trying to fill in the blanks of that moment. And yeah, as I said, it was just deeply, deeply uncomfortable. But that's what I'm guessing you guys were aiming for. I mean, the way I looked at it was, how much fun was it, or was it fun for you to do almost your own version of Nightfall, but to dial it up to 11? You were saying you don't always enjoy drawing those types of things, but there must have been a part of you thought no one's ever really got to do this before. You're sort of breaking new ground with it a little bit.
yeah. I mean, you know, it was my idea to chop his arms off, and all
Hmm.
I remember saying to Scott is, "When have you ever seen that?" You know,
Yeah.
with Batman, it's kind of like I guess I mean the point was that we show him. You've just never. I mean, to my knowledge, I mean I haven't read every Batman book, but the ones I've read, you've just never seen him lose that bad
No.
and quick. And
And I
and
think,
I would
and I,
say Bane's not even trying.
yeah,
It's like so.
yeah, he's very sort of cocky about it, as if, well, what else did you expect?
Yeah. So, and I mean, from what I've heard, I mean, I think that all came across, like, how we wanted it to.
Yeah, I think it's been a massive success from that point of view because I think the thing is as well. The first arc of Absolute Batman was against Black Mask, and Batman's this huge hulking monster, and he's get out of my way, and he's pulling off the bat symbol as an axe, and you're just like, who could possibly beat this guy? And to actually do it so early in the run, you know what I mean? It's a big swing. It could have went one of two ways. It could have actually went the other way where people were almost turned off by it, but it's the opposite. Everybody's just so taken aback by it and now interested in Bane as a character even more so than before. Because some people's version of Bane, for better or for worse, is just the hulking luchador in Batman and Robin, or the sort of the version in Dark Knight Rises where he's obviously very intelligent, very capable, but he's not like really monstrous and dominating to this degree certainly. So I think you guys have reintroduced Bane for a new generation, and just taken it off the scale with it and made an ad because like we're conditioned as Batman readers to go like "Oh, Batman always wins. He'll have a tactic in mind, or he's slightly stronger, or oh he set this thing up earlier and now he's calling upon it. And in this, for 3 4 pages, maybe even more, he just felt so utterly helpless and defeated. And even you have him begging as being crushing his face. He's like, please, as if saying, I don't know if he's saying please stop or please just end it, but
I
you've
see.
never seen that.
I didn't even know that line was in there.
Hmm.
Because of the Marvel style. So like even when I read that, I'm like, oh my god, he's begging. Like I'm like, oh, it's uncomfortable. You know?
Well, as you know, letterers can sometimes be a nightmare, you know,
Yes.
as we found out in Backcat 10. But yeah, no, I have to ask, how much input did you have into the design of, well, shall we call him Batbane? I mean, surely that's an Iron Studio statue waiting to happen.
Maybe. 1 second.
Yeah, no, it's
You give me one. I just spilled something. I'll be right back.
all good.
There you go. Oh look, I got something right here. Dude, I'm sneaking Guinnesses down here because I wanted it to feel. They just spilt over the whole edge. Um, Batbane, 100%. Scott just said Batbane, and he said, I'm trying to remember what he said. Maybe like bought some body horror stuff, but it was stressing me out. It's one of the last pages I drew because, um, I'm like, I don't know what Nick would do, and I didn't want to ask him because
Yeah,
I'm an artist and I'm selfish and I want to know I wanted to be mine.
yeah.
So I didn't really want to ask him too much. But I saw the pages of Arkham and a lot of that stuff, and I'm like, do I draw him full on like grotesque and a monster? And I do remember Scott going, so he's gonna have hands? How is he gonna, you know, because I chopped the hands off. But originally I was supposed to color that book. I didn't get a chance to, but I do wish there was some scars on his arms where they got cut. But other than that, I just designed it on paper. I was like, I started trying to draw the tubes coming out of his face, and I'm like, no, I don't want that. I knew I wanted this, the face. That's the reason I smashed his face, because I said I want to draw him wearing a mask.
Hmm.
And I'm like, well, why would he wear a mask? Batman doesn't wear a mask. And I'm like, oh, what if I smash his face? Like that'd be cool. So, um, it just kind of built itself on paper.
I hope you've still got that rough sketch somewhere because I have a feeling it's going to be an iconic design, and you might want to be able to trace it back to when you first did it because I think.
Sadly, the original page is the sketch. I mean, I literally didn't sketch him out.
Hmm.
I just literally started drawing him. I mean, I guess I have a sketch of it, but it's not different than that final page.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. As I say, I mean, I like my Iron Studio statues. I've got one based on the Detective 1000 that cover Jason Fabok did, which is big, pleasingly chunky. Obviously, I was showing you that Alfred one I have behind there, but I would very, very happily add a Batbane to my collection because the design is just amazing. I mean, you can sort of see up here looking at it. Obviously, I've got the page right here, but you can see up here there's sort of bolts almost as if the bolts are holding his arms in place.
Yeah.
Um, but even little things like I can see you worked a bat into like the knee pads as well, which is pretty cool. Um, I mean, you're clearly influenced by Rob Liefeld here. Look at the amount of pouches.
Awesome, huh?
I mean, I must admit, this looks like something Joe Mad would have drawn, and I don't think I could have, give you a bigger compliment than that. I know what a fan you are of his. But yeah,
Yeah.
even just little details. You can see the knife there, underneath the
Oh,
underneath where
that's
the
straight
gun.
up. You know what that is? A straight up Spawn.
Yeah.
That cover with he has the guns.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, man, dude. I was like, I don't know. Not a people. not a lot of people like when I say this, but like I just kind of want it to be kind of 90s.
Hmm.
Um, and I think the 90s get a bad rap because if I don't say it, everyone says it looks awesome.
And
So
then you say there's a reason. I mean, yeah, I mean, the 90s is sort of seen as the decade of the artist. So, from your point of view, wanting it to look like something from the 90s is not a bad thing because artist was very much king in the 90s. It was you could sell a book on the name of the artist, and that wasn't always the case because things were drawn in, unless you were someone like Neil Adams or those types of guys. But everything was sort of like house style. There's certain guys broke away from the mold. Norm Brayfogle or you know,
yeah, and
um,
he's great too. I mean, I love his stuff.
but
But
yeah, no, it looks like it's from the 90s, but a lot of Absolute Batman in general does feel like it's from the 90s. I think it suits the book.
that might
That's
be,
sort.
that might honestly be why I like it so much.
It
So
could be. Well, yeah, I mean, you must be really pleased with the feedback it's getting. I mean, aside from my ridiculous fanboying here, I mean, by and large, the response has been pretty electric. Social media, comic book website reviews, everyone compliments the art, and that's not always the case in comics, which really frustrates me when people only name check an artist or only name check a writer but don't talk about the artist. But I've not seen one review yet that does not have your name in it, and that's great to see. Because an artist, as you say, I mean, Scott probably spent plenty of time writing this, but he can write an issue faster than someone can draw it. You need to spend more time and put more craft into it. So it's good to see that. But I don't know if you'll be able to answer this question up. I'm going to ask it anyway. Can we expect to see you back for another issue of Absolute Batman down the line?
um, I mean, I'd say yes, but no. I mean, I think right now, after that issue, like already yesterday, I got tons of emails from like six people saying we need, let's take this momentum and put it on Nightfire. So
Hmm. So that's going to be
that's
the priority then,
yeah.
which is
And
not a bad
also,
thing.
I got what I think. I'm not gonna say I helped Absolute Batman at all, but I gave it my best, and I do want to use that momentum to put the spotlight back on me since it's just been so long. So, I mean, back not on me, but like if you like that book, go get Nightfire. Like, look for me at Nightfire. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, another example, again, just to, feed your ego a little bit, make you feel better about the work you put into it.
sure, sure. I got
Um,
time.
your issue or your cover for this was a 1 to 25 ratio. And we always sell our 1 to 25s or 1 to 50s cheaper than anywhere else. I just, it's a point of pride. I never charge what sort of market value is, so to speak. But we still never sell out of them all because people just like their cover A's. I sold out of your cover on day one. So, people were happy to pay that extra price. I put it out for the equivalent of say $15. It's about 10 or £11. But I was getting messages from people before they even got to the store. Do you have the 1 to 25? Can you hold that for me? We order 150 copies, so I say I have six. One of them's for me. I have five copies to sell. So yeah, they sold out straight away. So again, that's testament to your input on the book and how much people enjoy your work. So
Appreciate it.
um, just before jumping on to a little bit about Nightfire, I mean, you've been talking there a little bit about an exclusive cover that you've done celebrating the design of Batbane. I mean, do you want to point people in the direction of where they can pick that up?
Um, when do you post this, you think?
I'll probably post it quite quickly simply because of the momentum of Absolute Batman, I think.
Well, here it is.
Whee! Just look at that cover, it's
Um,
glorious.
I hate the foils, if I'm going to be honest, but people like them. Um,
Foils, we have many magpies in stores, we refer to them. They see something shiny, they want
okay. Yeah, I'll call these a magpie cover then. But
it.
I'm gonna do my first Whatnot show this Saturday. I'm sure it's gonna be really sad because I don't even know how to do it. But I'll be at a con in my hotel. I figure it's a good time to do it. So I'll try that. But after that, I mean, if you're fortunate enough to, I'm going to send some to bookstores. If you're fortunate, yeah, I mean, if you're fortunate to be one of those bookstores, maybe you can get one for free or sell. I don't care. I don't know how they do it. It's up to them. But past that, I'm going the on this one. It's for a con, Ocala Comic Con here in Florida. So they'll be for sale there. Um, but I'm gonna put them for sale too. I'm just not. I'm just so busy. So I'm sure they'll trickle out. If you have to have one, you can look for it on Whatnot or the con in Florida. But I know that doesn't help a lot of people. It will be available, so no one needs to worry about it. I will make it available online.
Just
But
as a
it's
just
all
as a
new to
slight
me, so
aside, just as a slight aside, as an idea for you. First of all,
okay.
yes, check out Whatnot. You achieved the impossible. You got me to sign up for Whatnot because I was going to be,
I
checking
saw
in on
you
that
on
thing.
it. I
Yeah.
was gonna ask you to give me some pointers, so I guess you don't have
Oh,
any.
I have only signed up for it because I saw your tweet about it and went,
Uh,
I've seen lots of other comic stores do it and stuff. I just struggle to have the time.
I think you're the first one.
Yeah. So, but yeah, just as an idea, as a little bit of an aside, and you can take this idea and use it or crumple it up and throw it in the bin. You were asking me before about what you should maybe say to stores who you send this out to.
Hmm.
Maybe say, give it to the first 25 people who sign up for Nightfire.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
It could be like a bonus,
But it's so far out. Does that work? Does a pull list work that far out?
I mean, all I can tell you is, for example, I have 40 people on a pull list at the moment. Any White Knight title that comes out, they want it. And there hasn't
Okay.
been a White Knight title for 2 years. And even then,
So
they were
when
spin off titles, Generation Joker. But any Sean Murphy White Knight book, they're like, just take me down for it.
okay, cool.
So even if it is far out, I would maybe, just as an idea, just say first 25 people or first 20 or first 10 or whatever you send to stores, get this exclusive cover if you sign up for the whole series.
Cool. Okay. I like that idea.
So
So
I'm going to be
maybe
your business manager one day. I'm telling you.
I'll send you 95.
I tell you, I have no doubt if you sent me 95, I could either sell 95 or I could get 95 people to sign up to Nightfire in the blink of an eye. So if you want to send me 95, I can guarantee 100 copies from our store. But
I'll
anyway,
see. I'll see
let's
how many.
let's let's talk a little bit about Nightfire. Just, I mean, as much as we can talk about it, I suppose. I mean, we had a teaser image before. DC had announced Elseworlds books coming out, so things like Gotham by Gaslight, the Kryptonian Age, and you had a book in there with your brother Seth, and that was called Batman Nightfire. I have the poster in store. It's framed and upstairs. But I believe you said to me, hold on to that because it might be one of the few posters with the Elseworlds logo on it.
Yeah.
It's
So
going to be a
that's
black label
not
book.
it's as of right now, I think it's Black Label. It's not going back to Elseworlds, I can guarantee you that. Um it's just when Seth and I pitched it, it wasn't an Elseworlds story.
Hmm.
It We pitched it to the editor who was putting together Elseworlds, and um, he did ask us to make a small change that I think kind of helped it fit into that. Um, but still, people were like, I remember some editorial discussions being like, doesn't really feel like Elseworlds.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I'll give you. Is it what is it? Do they say it's the tea when you give, you know, spill the information? So I
Spill the
don't know.
beans.
Is Yeah, I'll spill the beans. Let me be. Yeah, I like that better. But it probably would have stayed Elseworlds, except for if I mean you probably got some of them in your store. They had a border on them,
Yeah. So there's like a green
and
border around Kryptonian Age, for example.
yeah, and it would change colors, but it was taken from Gotham by Gaslight,
Yeah.
and they were putting it on every. Not the original Gotham of Gaslight had that border, and so they put it on Gotham, the new Gotham of Gaslight, and they were putting it on um, the other books. and I didn't want it on my book. Seth and I don't want to say we're control freaks, but look, we're two brothers who love comics, and we're making a comic. I mean, that blows your mind, right?
Yeah.
So we're very like we want to we want it to look a certain way.
Yeah.
You know, it's not an image book, but it's like we're doing our own book, and it's Batman, and we had a cut. We had our own idea for the cover and all this, and then they were trying to do the border, and I'm like, would you take a photo in your house? Can you put any frame on it? Or like a piece of artwork? You can't put any frame on it.
Yeah.
Like the things behind you, you know,
Yeah. So I've
what if I
got,
said,
so that's
what,
Sean Phillips.
yeah,
So is the one behind Alfred. Those are Hitchcock posters.
okay.
And that's a All Elite Wrestling poster there. But I have other ones over here as well. And but
What
yeah,
if I said, I want,
yeah,
to put a hot pink border on one of those? And you're
yeah,
like, well, that would look silly. That's kind of how I felt. And I'm like, I was a little petty because then I took all Jim Lee's X-Men #1 covers and I put the Elseworlds border on it. And I
yeah.
was like, doesn't this look stupid? You know? But I'm
You
just,
It's a good way to demonstrate your point, though. I mean, as an artist and as someone who, as you say, has been given the keys to writing, drawing, and doing your own bat book, you want it to look the best it can possibly be. And you're cutting out maybe what 10% of the art if you do that the whole way around the border.
yeah, but
So
I mean, then you have to think about the art. You got to make it work for the border. Seth and I are very inspired by a lot of looks, and that just wasn't the look. And, Seth and I went into doing it because I think Sean Gordon Murphy kind of, really set a fun example with White Knight.
mhm.
And Seth and I were, kind of like, well, we want to do that. I don't know actually, but it looked like he had a lot of freedom. He's always drawn in his logos.
Yeah,
It's kind of all off to the side. It felt left alone. And that's all we want. So we didn't want to be told, they were trying to make us, it felt like, and the argument for me is I'm promoting Elseworlds.
mhm.
My book is just helping Elseworlds.
Rather
Like,
than being its own standalone book.
yeah, and I'm like, what if someone hates the new Gotham by Gaslight and they read it and I'm sure it was good. I think it sold well. They're doing a sequel to it. So I'm not trying to pick on that book. I'm just picking on the border. But let's say they didn't like that book. Then they're going to look over and see Nightfire with the same border on it. And I
Yeah,
think that confuses people.
yeah. I think that's fair. I think that it could go one of two ways. It could go. They could read the first Elseworlds book and go, "This is awesome. I'm going to get the rest of the Elseworlds books."
Yeah,
Or
I
they
don't want
could
the
read the
help.
first one and go, "I'm not a big fan of this." Like the Absolute Line's an example. I mean, we've people who come in and they signed up for Absolute Batman. They thought it was amazing, so they went, "Any Absolute books, just get us them all."
Okay, let me ask you a question then. Does this, let me see if you can maybe see it. Does this help you at all, this all in? Does that
Um,
mean a thing to you?
the DC Bullet
Not the
does mean a
bullet.
thing, but the All In, I got to be honest, people see Absolute before they see All In. All In, I will say, All In helped when they did that series of white covers because that was your starting point. So as a comic store, it was really easy to portray to people. I know that says Batman 158, or I know that says Action Comics 27. But if they saw that, they were able to make the association of, oh, but it's a white background with the character. That's a starting point. And they can't do that for every time there's a starting point, I fully understand. But those words specifically on that issue that you just showed, very inconsequential, I'd say.
I mean, no one's looking at that all in on Absolute Batman #11. I would guarantee you it means nothing. I mean, I know what it's supposed to mean, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a single person If you sold 150, I don't think there's a single person who was like, "Oh my god, it's an all-in book."
Yeah, I think that's fair.
So I just didn't want to be. I mean, look, I've literally had I've had people tell me I'm worrying about the green M&Ms and I'm being ridiculous and petty. But I was like, I've been doing this for too long. Um, I'll spend years on this book, and Seth and I'll spend years on it, and I'll be an old man, and I'm gonna pick the book up, and you
Yeah,
know what I'm gonna see? That stupid
the border.
Elseworlds border, and I'm like, no, and I was like, pencils down. I was like, I won't do it. So
I'm
that's
trying to
just
think.
one.
I don't think the border's on the poster. I don't think it is. I think it is just a straight fold down poster that's sort of portrait and quite
But also,
long.
it's like I don't want help. Like, and you're like in a scenario, yeah, maybe it helps the book, but I don't want
Hmm.
help either because, and I've said this out loud before, and I have no problem saying it. When I was working with Tom, I asked for a raise, and this was about 5.5 years ago. It's in the middle of Batcat, and you'll notice the artist changed in the middle.
Hmm.
That's because DC told me that I wasn't the valuable one. And I'll never forget that. So I don't want help. I want to do the book with Seth and I want it to do good, obviously. But if it doesn't, I'll never wonder.
Yeah.
I don't want to wonder if a border hurt it. I don't want to wonder if a border helped it. I just want it to be our own book. So call me petty, but like I said, I'm not a teenager anymore. I
Hmm.
don't draw for free anymore. And I'm not going to just, you know, I'm difficult. I get it. I'm difficult. But
All artists are. All artists are. In any field. In any field. But no, I think you're right to exercise control over it where you can because it's your name on the front of the book at the end of the day. So, you
yeah,
know.
it's just like I'm not here to promote Elseworlds. Like, I get it. It's a company. I should be a team player. But I am being a team player. I'm working for you. I could
Hmm.
go I could go work somewhere else. So like you're benefiting. Let's not pretend you don't benefit either. So they'll sell the book, you know. They don't pay me what I want, so I know they're going to make money off of it, you know. So I think we can all win. I just don't want to be part of initiative, and I just want, not that one anyway, not
Hmm.
Elseworlds. So I was fine with it being Elseworlds. I just did not want the border on it. I actually love the logo. I love the Elseworlds bullet. I love that
Hmm.
thing. Just didn't want the border.
I'm trying to think if there's any. I don't. Are there even any other Elseworlds books that have followed Gotham by Gaslight? I know obviously there's the sequel, League for Justice, but I don't think there's been any other. Not off the top of my
There
head,
was a
anyway.
winter book with Deathstroke that came out, had the border.
Oh yes, Dark Knights of Steel All Winter. Oh yeah, that did have the logo. Yeah, you're right.
The Barbarian book asked me where that's at, but
Yeah,
I can't. I
that's
can't
something
even.
again. We have pre-orders for that, just based on again. Greg Smallwood did the art for Human Target. People
Well,
went, "Oh, he's doing a Batman book. I'll jump on that."
as far as I know, that book's done.
Oh really?
But I don't want to speak for him. But as far like I feel like that's what I've heard, but I can't speak for him. But I came to like him a lot because he actually backed me up with the border
Hmm.
um, in a really fantastic way. I can't. I'm only. It's not. I'm not gonna. I can tell you off camera, but I don't want to. It's not my business to tell everyone. But
Yeah.
it was. I was impressed with him. I like him a lot, but you know, just not a lot of those books. I think only half of them came out. So I don't know.
Well, obviously, all that being said, of course, I mean, Nightfire, as you say, it's still a go as far as we're As far as we know, are you
It's a go. I'm not
how
gonna lie
far
to everybody.
how
It's been
far
a
along would
while.
you say you've been, how far along in it are you at this point?
Oh, I can be super honest and blow your mind. I'm only in issue one. I haven't drawn.
How long is it planned to be?
Okay, well, I can be. Everyone's like, okay, so if they do the math, they're like, that book will come out in 10 years. No, I wasn't drawing
Hmm.
for the last like year and a half. I just haven't really been drawing much. So, cut some covers here and there, but I kind of, I just kind of got burnt out after Batcat, and then getting the book greenlit, Nightfire greenlit was, it was fun, but it wasn't drawing.
Yeah.
And then Seth and I always working on a story. There's a plus and minus working with your brother. It's like it's kind of like just two grown guys playing. Like we're just talk about it. Like that would be so cool. Like let's do this, let's do that. And it's like, were we were we talking about that fight for 4 months? Like
Yeah, it's
what?
maybe not as structured as it could be. It's just throwing out these great ideas and great concepts.
Yeah. Also, again, that in combination of being burnt out, that in combination with not really having like a hard when the book's going to come out, that in combination with, well, I don't want the book to come out if you're going to put a border on it. Petty Clay. Um, and then then I'll say the border thing. Last thing I'll say on that, it just made me realize I needed to slow down because I felt like it was the first sign of not being in control at all.
Hmm.
And like I said, Seth and I really wanted the White Knight experience where, it was just a standalone book. And so it seems to, I've gone that way. So now the switch is to Black Label. And as of yesterday, I literally, I had talks with some higher ups at San Diego a few weeks back. This Absolute Batman's done, and now my inbox is blowing up. I've got new editors on the book, some new, but some office changes at DC, and Nightfire is a go, and I feel like drawn now, which is why I also wanted to do the Absolute Batman because I thought it would kind of like put a fire under me to get like back in a rhythm.
Yeah.
And it worked. So Nightfire is my main gig, and it's what I'll be shifting focus to for real. Um, so I think it'll be out. If I had to guess, I would say, I'd say third quarter of 2026.
Hmm.
Um, so that's my guess.
Is it going to be obviously with Black Label when it first started? It was all this premium plus format, the bigger pages. Is it going to be that, or is it just going to be standard comic size?
I don't know. The only It's going to be standard, and the reason as of right now, I think the only thing Black Label means, if it could have changed the last few months since they said it was Black Label, is that I think it automatically gets a cardstock cover,
Hmm.
maybe, and
Yeah, I
the
can't think of any
page.
Black Label releases that don't have cardstock. So yeah, I think that's the case.
I think the page count's a little different, or there's more no ads or something like that, right? Like, so you could technically do every page art, so you don't have to worry about ads and a certain point.
Yeah.
There's just those kind of little perks to it. Um, but look, if DC said to me tomorrow, like, "Oh, it's not going to be Black Label. We're just going to put it out." Fine with that. I
Yeah.
don't. I don't really care. I just want,
Want it to be
it
its own
just,
standalone thing and
yeah,
not
that's it.
tethered to a specific label or imprint or anything like that.
It could be an imprint. Just it has to make sense. And you know, I wasn't the one who said it didn't sound like Elseworlds. A lot of people were like, "Why is this Elseworlds?"
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, Seth and I are like, "Well, this is we're just doing what we're told."
Yeah. Editorial told us so.
Yeah. So um, Black Label works. I think Black Label is a great fit, and I'm not going to say why because it could give away some of the story. But Black Label, with the books that's put out, I think that works because Black Label is where I think it was broke down to me. Black Labels is where previous stories can continue. So that kind of works in favor of Nightfire. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Black Label, it sort of kicked off as an adults only label. That was my understanding as a store for it. And it was going to be premium plus size books. So it was Batman Damned, it was Harleen, it was Joker Harley Criminal Sanity, it was Wonder Woman Dead Earth. But DC sort of backtracked really quickly because I'm not sure if you
that
remember this. I'm sure you do, but like the whole furor about showing Bruce naked in the shower. And it made, I mean, I'm sure it made the news in America, but like over here, it made like the 6 o'clock news. And for me, what DC should have done in that moment was go rush out a second printing, guys. This is everywhere. It's an adults only label. It's stories designed for an older reader. Make sure to pick up the hottest book this year that everybody's talking about. But DC sort of backtracked and went, "Oh, we're really sorry. We're really sorry. It's going to be blacked out in the upcoming volumes." So Black Label almost had I think, a slightly confused beginning because they sort of because that was the first book and they sort of backtracked really quickly, which I never fully understood. But to me, my understanding of Black Label is just it's not official canon. You know, it's its own side sort of book, so to speak, and it tends to be mini or maxi series. It's not you'll never have a Black Label ongoing, although White Knight is probably the closest to that.
yeah, I mean, I heard they might have. I heard they were almost going to put Absolute Batman as Black Label,
Hmm.
and it would fit there.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm just like, I don't care. It's like, as long as like we're getting not, put in with another line as much as we were, I'm totally cool with that. I mean, again, I would have done Elseworlds if the border, I'm so petty with the border.
We have to
Right.
have our principles. Without our principles, we're just animals. So, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I did have a higher up at DC say to me that he's told me I always work like stop worrying about the green M&Ms. And I'll never forget that because I'm like, you just called me a diva? He goes, I did not. And I go,
Yeah.
yes, you did. But uh,
Do you know what would be absolutely hilarious is if you retold the cover when it does come out and you put a border on
it won't be that border.
it. That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, no, we should look to finish up. You've been exceptionally generous with your time as always. I mean, just one thing regarding Nightfire, just even if you know it at this point, I suppose. But do you have a planned length in mind for it? Are we looking at a 4 issue mini series? Are we looking at a six? Are we looking at 12? Have you a preferred length in mind?
It's always been 6.
The sweet
Um,
spot.
I think that's just where it'll be. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think Seth and I will add to it because, again, while I haven't been drawing, we've definitely talked about it and like it's planned. We know every issue, like all that's figured out. So there's no figuring out on the fly. So we've kind of locked it in at 6 issues. The only thing that would change that is if we went to a format that had to have a certain amount of ads and it made the story, in a way we couldn't do it how we
Hmm.
wanted. So, but no, it should be 6 issues and yeah, 6 issues, Nightfire. So
Quarter 3, 2026. You heard it here first, people.
I think so. I think so. But also, I also complain about them dumping books at the same time. Like I don't want the first date they gave me for Elseworlds was the month after Absolute Batman,
Hmm.
and I said I don't want to compete with that.
A wise
And
move.
but no, believe me, that was just like the border. No one they didn't listen. They didn't say good. They didn't say, "Oh yeah, Clay."
Yeah.
They go, "That makes sense." They go, "No, I'll be fine." And I go, "No." But you know what came out the same month was Batman and Robin, year
Year
one.
one.
Totally overshadowed.
Yeah, and that's a real shame because that book's great.
And
But
that book, but
I know
that book,
totally what you mean.
if Absolute Batman didn't come out, you know that book would have had more spotlight
Yeah, I think
because
it
you
was.
got Somni and
Yeah,
like that's
anything
a
Wade
big
and
deal.
Samney. Yeah, I mean Wade and Samney are one of my favorite combinations. I mean my favorite Daredevil run is the Mark Wade Chris Samney run. Black Widow. They'd worked on together. And that's how I pitched it to people. I was like, look, Wade and Sadney's like Brubaker and Phillips. It's a combination. And it's a healthy enough book at our store. We have about 30, 32, 33 people on it. But I've no doubt that would be up over 50 if it hadn't have dropped. I think it was even the same. It might have even been the same week as Absolute Batman #1.
I think it was. I think it was definitely the same month, and I might think you're correct. I think it might have been because my mind was just blown. But I was just still like, I use that as the pretend Nightfire, and I'm not. I don't expect that much. I'm not that artist or that writer. But I was
Yeah.
just using it. Here we have a Batman #1, and we're gonna put it out with this new Batman. And I was just like, I think Nightfire would have just disintegrated.
Yeah.
So I'll always defend my argument over the border because it also made that not happen.
Yeah, a little bit of a means to an end. But no, I think you're right. I mean, the week Absolute Batman 1 came out, every single title was blown out of the water. If people only had money for one issue, that's what they were buying. If they had money for two, they were picking up a variant rather than another title because the hype was so big for it. So no, I definitely
And you
think
you also had the dominoes with Superman, Wonder Woman,
yeah,
like back to back to back. So it was like it's not a good time for another #1.
yeah, for new books to stand out. Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. I mean, I bet that release scheduling definitely benefited the Absolute books because it was fresh in people's mind. Absolute Batman #1. Oh, here's Absolute Wonder Woman #1. Here's Absolute. So it definitely benefited those books, but maybe the books around it maybe suffered a wee bit. I would say so. I'll applaud you for that. Train of thought, even if the higher ups at DC will not.
Thing.
From
I mean,
someone
I
who's
know
on the
I'm.
from someone who's on the front lines.
Well, I kind of know I was right. I could see it, but whatever. I mean, I buy comics, so I don't feel like I'm making these things up, but
Yeah.
it's nice to know that a retailer has confirmed that with for me. So,
Yeah, I genuinely thought like when they announced Batman and Robin year one, I thought this was going to be one of the biggest books of the year because of that team, and
and
it was
normally it would have been.
yeah, that team. It's a set 12 issues. There will be no scheduling conflicts. Samney's hot off of Firepower with Robert Kirkman. Wade has just made this move to DC, and his name's up there in lights. I was
And
like, this book's going to be huge.
everybody's been waiting for Chris to draw Batman because of his Inktober's that he's been doing for
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
Was waiting for it. So,
Well, even the fact it was a Robin story with Dick Grayson, because you just don't really get those anymore because Nightwing's such an established character. So the book had so much going for it. As I say, I thought it would be like, I didn't maybe think it would be absolute Batman numbers, but I thought it would be like Batman Volume 3 numbers, sort of thing because of the creative team. So yeah, no, choosing your spot's definitely a wise move. But I mean, if you hold Nightfire back any longer, just try and get it out when the Batman 2 comes out and, you'll be golden. I think that's been moved to 2027 though, so maybe don't wait that long.
no, I mean, I'm not gonna, I think at this point I'll just draw it, and then when the time comes, if I need to complain, I'll complain.
Well, I mean, I'll just finish off on just one quick example of exactly what you're saying. I remember when Three Jokers was coming out. Three Jokers came out in the aftermath of Doomsday Clock, and Doomsday Clock for a store was a nightmare because the first three issues were monthly, then it was bi-monthly, then it was every 3 months, and then it was whenever it's ready. And Gary Frank, to his credit, came out and said, "I'm drawing the sequel to Watchmen here, guys. I'm not putting out half-assed work. It'll take as long as it takes." But Jason Fabok, I think, came out in the press and said, "We're not even going to solicit Three Jokers until I've finished all the art because I'm not dealing with delays." And then he was patient like that. They announced the book, then COVID hit, and he went, "We're holding the book back." And then they used it almost as a title to kind of jumpstart the industry a little bit again. So that shows the importance of waiting for the right time to launch it, because that book came out regular as clockwork for 3 months. It was a premium product. It was a quality team. It's largely forgotten now, for lack of a better term. Like, it's not. It's a great book and it's a great looking book, but no one really talks about it anymore. But at the time when it came out, like, that was an example of how to launch a book, I think. So yeah, timing is everything. Timing is just as important as the quality of the book.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, hold off to the right moment. But no, we'll finish off to say, I've been very generous with your time. Just to finish off with, is there any variant covers or other things for people to keep an eye out for in the meantime?
I have a. I'm on all these retailer covers, but they're still covers. But you can find the pretty pictures online. But I'm doing a KO cover right now. I'm doing.
Is that a retailer exclusive?
Yeah, they all are, dude.
It's
It's
lucky
like,
I'm on such good terms with you. I can just bug you every so often and go, "Could I
yeah,
have some of those pretty covers, please, please, please?"
no, I set you a side cover. I'll set them aside. So yeah, it's a KO. Um, what am I doing? I'm doing a KO cover. I did just do my own, fully my own, um, Absolute Batman number 13 cover of Catwoman. That'll be out in what, two more issues, and
Yeah.
then
I think you did one, was it for 14, where it looks very Dark Knight Returnsy. Batman on top of the
yeah,
tank,
I
and you've
did.
used the axe for the bat symbol in the moon. Because I saw you have a good back and forth with someone on social media where they went, "This looks sick. He should get his brother Seth to color all of his issues." And I think you replied going, "Yeah, I colored that."
I did color that, and I actually did that cover for fun back early on because I was like, I just love that book so much, and I almost became a retailer cover because someone liked it, but then DC said they'd use it. So, but yeah, so the Man Boys thing. I mean, I can say it here because I do think it needs explained a little bit. Seth helped me color Absolute Batman number one, and when I say he helped me color, like kind of 50-50. We were out in the grass back and forth sending the picture and coloring it at the same time.
Hmm.
There's multiple versions of that, but we both colored it. So we did the Man Boys, and then since then Seth's more of like, I'll send him the picture, I'll be like, do you think this looks good? And he might like be like, what do you think if this was this color, or you need like put this here, like maybe that would look cool. So it's more of like, a lot of it, it's just a lot of back and forth, but that doesn't, it's also just branding because we're going to do Nightfire together.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are like, oh, your brother. And I'm like, no, he really hasn't actually touched one since issue one. It's just more of like, uh, I just kind of was using it as a branding for Nightfire because it'll be the
Yeah.
Man Boys. So that's all it is, really.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, there's lots of variant cover artists out there that have a specific signature. You think of Adam Hughes, A-H exclamation mark. You think of J. Scott Campbell, he's got a very distinctive Scotty Young. So yeah, branding is important, certainly when you do those sort of variant covers. So I can
I do,
understand the reasoning
and I
there.
do think it's more noticeable than Man.
Yeah. Even if
So
Marvel wouldn't let you use the Man Boys.
they wouldn't let us. Not at all. I don't want to say why though. But
That's something for all fair. That's something for all
it's
fair.
on one Marvel book. It's on one X-Men book.
Yeah, I think it was an X-Men book. Was it a Rogue cover?
Rogue, Gambit, and
Yeah.
Neato.
side on pose. I actually have one or two of those issues in the store. So I'll hook them out for when you inevitably come to hand deliver the Batcat page to the store.
No, I'm gonna mail it. I'm gonna mail it with these
I'm just
covers.
calling you out in public here, just so you know it actually happens. But you've no idea how proud a place that would be in our store. I'll have the graded CGC on the wall, the original page, and then a fold out of it showing the finished art. So you know
No,
that,
that's
that's
a.
the,
I mean, that's
as
a
a
cool
comic store, that's
brand.
the ultimate flex. Believe me, as a comic store, ultimate
I mean,
flex.
it's kind of cool for some Floridian to say my art's hanging up and over, you know, across the anyway out of the country. It's pretty cool. So
Well, as I say, when I get some of those CGCs back, I'll make sure to mail you one instead of you mailing me something. Then you'll have it there, first appearance. I'll be worth money someday. You never know. But anyway,
CGC
well, sorry, go
CGC
ahead.
CGC is pretty close to me.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about. It's around the corner. It's Sarasota, Florida, isn't it? CGC.
Yeah, it's like I think 2 or 3 hours. I count that close. It's Florida. You guys could be in another country. So
2 3 hours would drive us to Dublin, so we'd be in the heartland of Ireland. But
uh,
yeah, no, I know what you mean. America's so large and spread. A couple of hours is around the corner, I suppose. So, but yeah, no, I will leave it there because I could chat to you all night long. Unfortunately, I know you're a busy man, so I will let you get back to it. But no, it's always a pleasure catching up. I mean, I wish we could do this more often, just to sit and excuse my French, bullshit about comics and life in general. So, um,
all you gotta
but
do is ask.
you may regret saying that.
I don't care. Here's me.
As I say, guys, make sure to check out Absolute Batman 11. As I say, absolute stellar issue. If you can avoid the spoilers for it and go in clean, it is the best way to do so. More copies coming into the store and Coffee and Hero soon. I've no doubt this book will go back to second and third and fourth and fifth print and more. But absolute pleasure catching up with you as always. And I eagerly await Nightfire.
Thanks, man.